Welcome back to another Arc Raiders video. This one, I'm just going to be going over my thoughts so far, seeing as how the game has been out for a little over a week now. I've put probably somewhere in the realm of close to 100 hours, I would say, so far. Launch day, I did a 26-hour stream, so that was really fun. It's been a long time since I've done that type of stream. So, you know, getting older, it's harder to stay up for 24 hours and, you know, easily recover. So, but really, I've been having a blast with the game. You know, I titled one of my other videos, this is basically like my new cycle frontier. I always mention the cycle at least once or twice anytime that I'm talking about, you know, extraction shooters and, you know, a game that I absolutely loved. Like I said in other videos as well, if the cycle was still around and they were still, you know, updating and they, you know, got their stuff together, I would probably be playing that to this day still. But anyway, I haven't enjoyed playing a game this much in a while. Probably since the cycle, to be honest. The game just feels refreshing. It's you know, very visually appealing. It gets you into the universe and the atmosphere. I kind of like the post-apocalyptic, you know, you versus AI and obviously other raiders feel. The game runs amazing. Haven't had any like frame issues. I think in all the time I've been playing, the game maybe has crashed on me once, I think. And that might be actually going back to server slam. So same thing even with like the servers in general. Like you know, there's been two different times where they hit their like peak, you know, their first peak concurrent player counts, and that was the first Sunday after launch. So the servers were kind of frying for about, I don't know, I would say about an hour and a half, 2 hours. But then everything was good. And then yesterday, which was November 8th, so Saturday, they had a little bit of some server issues again, but I think they hit a new peak concurrent players. So anytime they seem to be hitting those peaks, that's where the servers kind of cook for a little bit, and then they get it sorted out. So they've been really good with staying on top of any kind of issues that pop up. I haven't, to my knowledge, ran into anybody that seemed to be cheating. There's really never been a time where I thought, oh man, like this guy definitely killed me because he was like walling or, you know, had some sort of like, you know, aim assist using the wizardly magic. So that's good. Because that's one of the biggest things that could kill a game like this is cheating. I think any first-person or third-person shooter, that's the biggest downfall in most cases would be, you know, overabundance of cheaters. So they seem to be keeping a handle on that, and the people who apparently have ran into them, I think a lot of people ended up getting their full kits back, so they do have that feature where if you are killed to somebody who was confirmed to be cheating, you do get whatever gear set, loadout you were running in that raid comes back to you in full. So, sucks still, but at least, you end up getting your stuff back. And I would assume most cases. But yeah, I've been having a blast. Like, solos feels really good. A lot of the times, you're running into a lot of friendlies in solo. I've had some really good, cool interactions. People seem to want to, help out in that still, or work together to do certain things. I'm sure as time goes on, that'll probably change, because obviously once, the tasks are completed, people are hitting max level, what is there to do? It's pretty much get yourself ready for the expedition if you want to reset your character and get the, boost from that. And basically killing the larger arcs and doing PvP. So I'm sure things will get a little bit more hostile in the future, but right now, at least on the solo side, things seem to be going fairly good. It does seem to change a little bit, depending on if you're playing like a night raid or something like that, or if there's special conditions. Sometimes people will be a little bit more hostile. I've also seen a little bit of a change depending on the gear that I'm running. So supposedly there's no like skill-based matchmaking or gear-based matchmaking, but I definitely feel like when I'm running some better stuff, I run into people who are also kind of running gear in that same range, and they also seem to be a little bit more PvP oriented. So I don't know if they got stuff going on in the background that they're not telling us about for whatever reason, or if they're testing different things. But I do feel like I see a little bit of a difference between running like, beginner gear or free loadouts as opposed to running some like, blues or even greens. Personally, I do think they need to have something for new players, as far as like some kind of like gear-based matching, just because you don't want new players coming in and they just get automatically stomped out by, people who are running blue shields, blue weapons, epic weapons, epic shields, the heavy shields, or things like that, or even some of like the green weapons like the shotgun, or the anvil. Like, those can be pretty brutal, especially if you're running the beginner like green shield. Even with blue shields, they're still pretty rough to go up against. Now, I do feel like the way that the combat works and how the weapons are set up for the most part, and how the shields and your health also kind of work in there, is that even if you're running better stuff, somebody who's running base level gear still has a chance, but obviously the person who's running the better gear will probably have a higher chance of survivability, just because you can tank a couple more shots, and then obviously the other augments have, the higher level augments give you some little bonuses to maybe like a little bit of health regen, or you'll drop the smoke grenade when your shield breaks and stuff like that. So there are advantages, but it's not like in the cycle where you would spawn into a map and you'd have like basic gear, and then you're getting just destroyed by people who are running like endgame weapons, and that you're getting lasered from halfway across the map, and it's like a 1 or a 2 shot, like pretty crazy. So I do want to see something in there for protection for like new players, or people who are kind of running like base gear or free loadouts, to where it's like they're not just getting into lobbies where they're going to get instantaneously demolished. But I don't think they have to be super strict with it. Because I've seen a pretty good balance so far, but we'll see how that plays out as time goes on. Now, switching over from solos to duos and trios, I really hope that they can do for duos what they did for solos. To where when you're solo, you're pretty much in a solo lobby. You're not running into duos or trios unless people are like teaming up. Duos though, a lot of the times you are up against pretty much trios. Every now and then you'll run into some other duos and stuff, but a lot of the times that I've been playing with just one friend, because I don't generally do squad fill, we're up against 3-mans pretty much the vast majority of the time. So it would be nice, especially if their player count is high enough to kind of shrink the duo pool down to, I would even take a little bit longer matching times if I could get matched with more duos instead of being trios all the time. But if not, is it going to make it or break it for me? No, but it would be nice. Trios, obviously, you're pretty much always fighting against other trios. You will run into the occasional like duo every now and then, but it's pretty much 3v3. Team play in like duos and trios is definitely more hostile. I think there's way more emphasis on PvP, which is nice because I do like to PvP, and I feel like when I'm running solo a lot of the times that I almost feel bad if I'm shooting somebody or if I shoot first, because there's so many people that are just running around trying to like loot or do tasks or whatever, so you almost feel like the bad guy for being the first one to like kill somebody or, you know, actually engage in PvP. So playing with friends is fun because it's almost like a shoot on sight type deal. So, and I like PvP. But yeah, that's the biggest contrast is, you know, teams, PvP for sure, solos. For me, it's actually more like, it seems like 80-20, where 80% of the time it's looting, running around, and then 20% of the time you're getting into some kind of PvP. They did release a roadmap for the rest of the year, so for November and December. So we should have some new arcs coming in, I think, this month. New tasks, new quests, I mean. A new community event, and there's also going to be the opening of the other map, Stella Montis, I believe is what it's called. So that'll be really good. I think they're going to be adding at some point too, maybe new weapons. I think they said, I don't remember if that was coming this month or next month, but I believe there are some new weapons coming in and gadgets or something like that. December, it's going to be, and new trials, obviously, but December is going to be new trials, new map conditions, I think, like the snow environment is going to be in there. There's going to be another community unlock event. So they've actually got a pretty good lineup for the rest of the year, and obviously, you know, probably fixing any bugs, things of that nature. So we'll see what they have planned for 2026, but if they're keeping that same pace as far as what they're planning on putting out for November and December, I think they're on a really good track. So we'll just have to wait and see on that one. One thing that I would say I wish they would implement, especially because I think this would be good for new players, in case they kind of like go down the wrong pathway on their skill tree, or pick up some skills that they may find out aren't as useful as they thought they were, would be some form of like respec. I think you should be able to do one free respec per character, basically. So, you know, obviously when you go on the expedition, everything gets reset so you can do it then, but I think at some point in time, when you hit maybe like level 20 or 30 or something like that, or even make it a quest in the game that when you complete this quest, you get a free like respec on your character. Just so people don't necessarily have to wipe their character through the expedition to be able to, you know, rearrange their skills. Because here's the thing. Some people don't ever plan on wiping their character. So the fact that you kind of have that lock behind the expedition side of it, I don't think is the best route. Now, do I think you should just be able to respec as much as you want? I don't think that would be a good idea either. Just because, for me, I do think having some sort of weight behind the choices that you're making with your raider is a good thing, and it also would kind of take away from pushing people to do the expedition, since there are no, you know, server wipes that they're doing. It's all based on the choice of the player. So it's nice to kind of get people incentivized to do the expedition, to reset the character so the economy kind of, you know, refreshes and stuff like that. Other than like the cosmetic benefits or, you know, the stash increase, you know, whatever that stuff is going to be on the expedition side. So I think they should have at least one free respec, and then maybe give people the option that once they hit, like, say level 50 or something like that, you either get another task for one more respec, or you get the option maybe like once every 2 weeks, or maybe even like once a month or something, that you can purchase a respec, and that respec is like, you know, some kind of crazy amount of money, like 250,000 like credits or something like that, just so that it's still like, it's not like, oh, let me just go over here and, you know, put these skills in. Oh, I don't like it. Let me just go pop in here and respec. Okay, cool. Let's go over here and do this so I can get, like, the looting. I want to do, like, looting for, like, a couple of days. So let me do this skill tree and, you know, let me do that. Now I want to go do PvP. So let me reset this and go do more of a PvP build and blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't want people to be able to hop around like that. But give people some options to where maybe they don't have to completely wipe their character to be able to reset their skills. Especially because, you know, down the road they're probably going to rebalance certain skills, make certain things, you know, better or worse. They may, you know, add skills to the skill tree, whatever that looks like. So I think giving at least a couple chances to respec or something on like a cooldown or whatever that looks like would be a good idea. But, I mean, other than, like, duos being more of, like, only duos when matchmaking and the skill respec side of it, I think they pretty much nailed everything else for the most part. I really don't have, like, any other massive, like, gripes or complaints that I can think of. Like, I've legitimately been having a blast playing the game. I love, you know, just jumping on, maybe even doing like some free loadout runs, you know, whatever that may be. Like, I don't feel like it's one of those things where, oh man, I have to get on here and do this, and like I'm really not having that much fun, but like this is what we've got right now. And you know, because that's how I kind of felt playing some other extraction shooters after a certain period of time, where things became more of like a chore, or it felt like a job, and like that's not why I want to play a game. Like, I want to play a game to be entertained, to have fun, you know, see those, or make those, like, cool, you know, memories in game, doing interesting things. And that's the other thing that's nice about Arc Raiders, is that they do have, like, the different map conditions of, you know, the hidden bunker, the electromagnetic storm, night raids, uncovered raider caches, like, just things to keep stuff interesting. And even without those, they have little, like, loot puzzle locations in the maps, and, like, little hidden loot locations, and there's just so many different things to explore and look for and all that stuff that it keeps things interesting, because you always kind of feel like you're learning something new and you're exploring something different. Same thing with, like, the arcs in that, because arcs have different weaknesses, you know, different grenades work better against certain things. Like, I was selling all of my flame grenades, and then come to find out, like, the flame grenades are really good against pretty much every arc except the ones that are flying, and even if you can land it on the Rocketeer, like, the flame grenade still does a lot of damage. So it's actually a really good grenade that I was just, like, getting rid of until I saw people using them, and I was like, wow, they're just wrecking, you know, these ground-based arcs. So I was like, okay, so I started using those, you know. Same thing with, like, the Hornet drivers. I was just selling those, and then I was like, wait a second, you can use these to electrocute the arcs. Like, that's actually really good, especially when you don't have, like, showstoppers and that available. So it's like, oh man, like, start using these. So it's just cool things like that. I mean, I think they did a superb job. Everything fits together really well. You know, there's so many different things to loot that my stash is almost perpetually always, like, full, because I'm one of those people that I'm like, I may need this, like, to craft this or to do that. I actually just maxed out my stash. I think it maxes out at 280 or 284, I think. It's whatever the, I think it's the 200,000 upgrade. Once you hit that one, like, that's the last one. So, but that's the other side of it too. There's a lot of things to loot, but I never feel like I'm looting something that's going to be completely useless. Obviously, you start using less of certain things as you progress, but even for crafting ammo or, like, shield rechargers, like, things like that, you still need some, like, base materials to do that stuff. So it all kind of has a purpose, and that's kind of nice about, like, Scrappy, especially once you get them leveled up all the way, is that really you probably don't need to hoard too much of the base materials, because you can get a lot through him, and if you have some money built up, you can just go and purchase, you know, ammo and stuff like that. So if you want to save some stash space there, you can do it that way. But everything has, like, a really nice flow. Even the trials, like, the fact that basically it's a weekly thing. You're given, I think it's like 4 or 5 different objectives that you do, that you have to complete and extract in order to get points, and then if you don't extract, you lose points. But they kind of match you, I think, pretty fairly, depending on when you start the trial and, you know, how much you're playing and all that stuff. And it's a good little, like, leaderboard system with some rewards to keep people interested. So even if you are max level and you've completed all of the quests, you know, and you've upgraded all of your workbenches, and you're pretty much just there to make money and either kill orcs or PvP, that system still gives you something that you can be working towards, trying to beat your personal best, trying to be on the top of the leaderboard before the reset, and then staying in the top 100 for that Cantina Legend. You know, it gives you something to do at, like, an end game level, so it's not like, okay, I completed the task, I hit level 75, all my stuff's upgraded, what do I do now? Just wait for the expedition and reset? You know, like, Because again, not everybody wants to reset their character. So they've pretty much thought of, you know, a lot of the things that could be roadblocks and how to kind of get around them and how to, you know, extend the life, which is good. So yeah, I'm just, you know, my overall, this game is for me like a 20 out of 10. I'm loving it. I've been playing it a ton. I just, like I said, I maxed out my stash. I've got half of my workbenches leveled up all the way. I just completed all of my quests yesterday, and I'm about to hit level 50. So it's basically just grinding out the other 25 levels, leveling up that bench, the remaining benches, and then I'm almost on part 4. I need one more cooling fan, and I'll be on part 4 of 6 of the expedition to get that done, because I think the first expedition opens up in December from what they said. But, and then obviously just the leaderboards, the trials each week. But yeah, game's a blast. Loving it. My friends who are all playing, you know, they say they're having a blast. They love it. So yeah, I'm excited to see what the future brings. The team did say that they have like a vision of like this being a 10-year game that they're going to be supporting, you know, and adding stuff in over that 10-year period. So I can't wait to see what they got next. All right, if you did like the video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Helps with the algorithm, with the likes and the subscribes. I'm also trying to hit 100 subscribers by the end of the year. I'm at 81, so we're almost there. So I do appreciate that. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.